pasta al pomodoro, spaghetti con un poco di... Is that basil? I hope it's not a meatball because I'm gonna flip the table. But yeah, lovely. Of course, there were no tomatoes, but this is a cartoon and it's very funny, so I'll excuse that.
Years. This is practically your home. You're basically Italian. Yes, Gerald. And I've had such a lovely time. I ate spaghetti,
Yep.
did this with my hands. I've committed my whole life to this campaign. And once Rome has fallen, it'll all have been worth it. Hannibal, you have to return to Carthage. Your Italian campaign has been for nothing. Your whole life has been a waste. No! Imagine being Hannibal in this moment. You left Carthage when you were 9. You probably barely even recognize your own homeland. The kingdom he had built in Spain with his father? Gone. And now his Italian campaign, his vengeance. Was it really all for nothing?
I forfeit.
But that was that. Carthage was under threat, and Hannibal had to protect his home city. As he left Italy, in Rome, there was celebration, but also some trepidation. Now, Scipio would have to face Hannibal in Africa, where Hannibal would have home
That is the ultimate showdown.
advantage. While Hannibal was on his way, the Carthaginians stalled for time and approached Scipio for peace talks. Hey, look,
Good
we
luck
never
with
meant to
that.
start an all-out 2-decade-long war, but you did. No, that was Hannibal. He's to blame for all of this. Well, all right then. Sign this peace treaty. Okay, let me just get my signature right on there. He's here. Yes! Oh, look who's here, you bald prick! You're so dead now, Skippy. Don't call me that! After Carthage proposed peace, only to then go back on it, the normally merciful Scipio was enraged. He began refusing to accept town surrender, and instead began burning everything to the ground, selling everyone into slavery. Hannibal, he's burning our towns. Go stop him. Guys, he's obviously trying to lure me out there to fight on those flat plains, where his Numidian cavalry will give him the advantage. It's a trick. Well, it's working. Go and fight him. It's obviously a trap, and we're falling for it. Go and fight him. Hannibal set out to meet
Freaking politicians. That's what happens when a politician makes the choices that a general should.
Scipio in the Western Plains. And here came Scipio's final test. Finally, the teacher would face the student. The two greatest generals of all time
Zama.
in one last
Let's go.
decisive battle. Would Hannibal's genius still shine through? Or would Scipio prove that he had surpassed the master? Before battle, the two great generals rode out from their camps and met in person for the first time. Hannibal, I'm a huge fan. I thought you'd have more hair, and I thought you'd have more eyes. Touché.
Touche.
They then had a conversation, which I'll paraphrase. Hannibal said, "At the start of this war, I had great fortune in Italy. But look at me now, a sad old man who, like other sad old men, failed to conquer Rome. Your fortune can change rapidly, Scipio. You should consider negotiating a peace rather than risking it all in one last fight against me." Very eloquently put. Scipio then replied, "You negotiate? Negotiate what? I took Spain. I'm about to burn your pathetic city to the ground. What could you offer me in negotiations?
Roman rage.
I already have it all! Ah! Seriously though, Hannibal, I am such a big fan. And so, it was settled. The two great generals would face off one last time in the epic Battle
Of
of
Zama.
Zama.
Let's go.
Scipio gave his men, consisting of many survivors from Cannae, a
Man, no wonder this takes them like 6 months to make. It's a phenomenal... I can't even imagine, not only the research, of course, they do a very good job, but all the animations, the drawings, the script writing, the recording. This is phenomenal work. If you're not subscribed to Oversimplified, you absolutely should.
battle speech, telling them not only would they gain redemption, but they could become masters of the world. Hannibal told his men probably nothing, because most of them didn't even speak the same language. As the two armies lined up for battle, something interesting became clear. Hannibal had more infantry and hoped to use them to brute strength the Romans. But Scipio had the nimble Numidian cavalry and hoped to pull off an envelopment. It was a complete role reversal of Cannae. As the battle began, Hannibal made his first move. He sent his 80 war elephants to smash through and weaken the Roman infantry. Scipio had the perfect response.
Yeah, because that was an excellent way to open the battle, by the way. It's not a mistake on Hannibal's part. It's just that Scipio, I said Scipio, I said it in the Italian way. Scipio, is it going to go with the trumpets? Let's go.
He had altered his formation to create passages between the Roman maniples.
Oh yeah, of
His
course.
light troops stepped aside at the right moment, revealing the gaps ahead of the charging elephants. Elephants, if given the choice between a suicide charge into spears or a nice clean escape, will probably choose the escape. And that's what happened. Some elephants were so frightened from the noise that they even turned and smashed back into the Carthaginian cavalry, which the Roman cavalry then engaged. Your move, Hannibal.
Yeah.
Hannibal wasn't an idiot. He knew that he was fighting superior Numidian cavalry on open plains. So when his weaker cavalry ended up being routed from the battlefield, he probably wasn't surprised and hoped the Roman cavalry would be lured as far from the battlefield as possible, because his infantry needed time to do a clever little job. Hannibal had the numerical advantage, and he had positioned his army in 3 lines.
And these are both now, by this time, these are both very experienced soldiers. The Romans, of course, have got citizen troops, but so do they. They also have citizen troops, together with mercenaries, together with conscripts that were given and promised sort of almost half citizenship, if you will, and all the possible prizes that we discussed in the previous episode. So this is a very strong infantry, as well as this is.
Lines. The weaker troops were at the front, while his best men, the army that had been with him in Italy, were in the rear. As the Romans smashed into the weaker front lines, they managed to cut through them, but suffered losses and exhaustion in doing so. The same with Hannibal's second line, so that by the time the Romans reached Hannibal's superior third line, the two sides may have now been about equal in number. But the exhausted Romans had just fought an entire battle to get there, while the remaining Carthaginians were fresh and ready to go. Hannibal was still a genius. And this is where the final race began. Could Hannibal's stronger infantry finish off the Romans before the Roman cavalry returned from their pursuit? Who would be quicker, the Carthaginian infantry or the Roman cavalry? The answer: the cavalry. They had called off their pursuit just in time to turn around and hit Hannibal from the rear. And that was the deciding move. As the sandwiched Carthaginians were hacked to pieces, Hannibal knew he had lost, and he escaped the battlefield. It was a battle that some historians say was well fought on both sides. Both showed their genius, but fortune fell in the favor of Scipio. With just a few thousand Roman casualties compared to 40,000 Carthaginians, Scipio had won. Hannibal advised the Carthaginians